Kane Tejada has always lived by one rule: survive by any means necessary. He's loyal until loyalty gets in his way. But imagine this, the streets of New York are no longer safe for Kane. His family is falling apart, Monet has turned her back on him, and Tariq has outsmarted him again. Now picture Kane stepping into Chicago, the city where power means blood, and the only way to earn respect is through fire. What if Kane becomes the one thing he was always meant to be, a shooter for CBI? Kane Tejada has always been more than just a street soldier. He's a storm trapped inside a man who doesn't know peace. From the very beginning of Power Book 2, Ghost, Kane has been fighting two battles, one against his enemies and one within himself. He's been desperate to prove he's not just Monet's muscle, but her equal. Yet every time he gets close to power, it slips away. He wanted control over the family business, but Monet never trusted him enough. She saw him as the muscle and never the mind. That's where Kane's hunger started to turn into rage. Things started to change after Zeke's death. The family fell apart, Monet started to lose control, and Tariq, the one Kane always saw as soft, began to rise. Tariq became the face of the new game, and for someone like Kane, that was unbearable. He's always been the kind of man who can't stand being second. The street doesn't reward second place. It buries it. When Monet started trusting Tariq more than her own son, Kane's heart hardened. Every look from his mother started to feel like an insult. Every word from Tariq sounded like a challenge. That's when Kane realized something brutal: loyalty means nothing when the people you love see you as a threat. Kane tried to play his own game. He started making deals behind Monet's back, working angles Tariq didn't see coming. But Kane isn't a strategist, he's a force. His moves are loud, his decisions fast, and his temper deadly. That's what makes him dangerous, but also predictable. The streets saw his weakness before he did. He wanted respect more than control. He wanted to be feared, but in a world full of thinkers like Tariq and Monet, fear isn't enough. It's not what keeps you alive. By the end of Power Book 2, Ghost, Kane was standing on shaky ground. He'd lost his place in the family, lost Monet's trust, and lost the one thing that gave him purpose: being the protector. The streets that once made him feel powerful now looked like a trap closing in. Everyone around him was plotting, and Kane was running out of moves. That's when the whispers began. Talk of a man named Tommy Egan, running Chicago with an iron fist. A man who didn't play politics, only power. Kane has always respected strength. He might hate authority, but he respects raw dominance. And Tommy Egan is the kind of man Kane understands. Someone who doesn't need approval, doesn't care about loyalty unless it's earned through action. For Kane, that kind of world would feel like home: no rules, no family drama, no one to answer to. Just pure hustle, pure danger, and pure power. But before Kane could ever think of moving to Chicago, he needed a reason to leave everything behind. That reason came in blood. Someone had to die, a deal had to go wrong, or maybe Monet finally decided to cut him off for good. However it happens, Kane finds himself standing on the edge of a new chapter. He's not the Prince of New York anymore. He's a man with nothing left to lose, and that makes him lethal. Kane isn't running from his past. He's being pulled towards something darker. Chicago is calling not for redemption, but for war. And in that city, the streets don't care about your name. They only care about your aim. Kane might not know it yet, but the moment he steps into Chicago, he's walking into a world that will test everything he believes about power, loyalty, and survival. Because in CBI, the only thing that matters is who's ready to pull the trigger first. Chicago, the city breathes different. The air is heavy with ambition, betrayal, and blood. For Kane Tejada, stepping into Chicago isn't just a move, it's a rebirth. He leaves behind the chaos of New York, the ghosts of his family, and the endless power struggle that left him with nothing. The noise of the city feels familiar, but colder. It's a different jungle, one where nobody knows the name Kane Tejada, and that's exactly how he wants it. Because anonymity is power. For the first time, he isn't Monet's son or Tariq's rival. He's just another street soldier looking for a way back to the top. Kane arrives with nothing but his instincts, his gun, and his hunger. The streets of Chicago don't hand out second chances, but they recognize real when they see it. He starts small, moving quiet, keeping low, hitting corner hustles and small deals. He's testing the city, and the city is testing him right back. Every alley, every deal, every stare feels like a question. Are you built for this? And Kane answers it the only way he knows, with action. Word spreads fast. It always does. A newcomer who handles business clean, moves like a ghost, and doesn't flinch under pressure. That catches attention. It isn't long before someone whispers his name in the right ear. That ear belongs to Diamond Sampson, the man who once ruled the CBI with balance and logic, now sharing power with the most unpredictable man in the game. Tommy Egan. Diamond sees potential in Kane, but also danger. Tommy, on the other hand, sees something familiar, a man burning with rage, loyalty, and a taste for chaos. When Tommy first hears about Kane, he doesn't think twice. He's been around enough reckless shooters to know most don't last. But then he sees Kane handle himself during a street dispute, fast, efficient, cold. No hesitation, no fear, just focus. That's when Tommy realizes this kid isn't just another trigger-happy wannabe. He's got that same fire Tommy had back in New York, the kind of fire that can't be taught, only born from betrayal. Kane's first encounter with Tommy isn't friendly. It's intense, two alpha wolves sizing each other up. Tommy's sharp, direct, and brutally honest. Kane matches his energy, unbothered, confident, even a little reckless. It's not a meeting. It's a silent war of dominance. And yet, underneath that tension, there's a strange respect forming. Tommy recognizes the pain behind Kane's confidence. Kane recognizes the authority behind Tommy's calm. They're from two different worlds, but their code is the same: loyalty above all, and death before disrespect. Tommy doesn't trust easy, and Kane doesn't beg for opportunities. But when a CBI shipment goes sideways, Kane gets his chance. A rival crew tries to hijack a deal, and in the chaos, Kane steps in without hesitation. One move, one shot, one clean takedown. No panic, no mercy. Tommy watches it happen and knows immediately this man belongs here. After the smoke clears, Tommy looks at Kane and says the words that change everything. You move like family. That's the moment Kane becomes more than an outsider. He's not a guest anymore. He's part of the operation. Tommy offers him a place, not as a soldier, but as a shooter. The kind of position that demands loyalty and earns fear. Kane doesn't even think twice. New York took everything from him: family, trust, peace. Chicago gives him something new: purpose. In that moment, he finds what he's been searching for, a world that values what he brings, not what he lacks. But Chicago isn't New York. The rules are different. In New York, loyalty was a mask. Here, it's survival. In CBI, you can't fake loyalty. You prove it every day, every move, every bullet. And for the first time in a long time, Kane feels alive again. The streets respect him. The crew fears him. And Tommy, the man he once thought he could never work under, starts to see him as something close to an equal. Still, behind that respect is tension. Tommy's no fool. He knows Kane's ambition runs deep, maybe too deep. Diamond can feel it too. They can both sense that one day, this loyalty might turn into a challenge. Kane isn't built to follow forever. He's built to lead. And in a city like Chicago, that ambition could either make him unstoppable or get him killed. But for now, Kane's name starts to echo in the alleys and trap houses. The CBI has a new shooter: cold, quiet, ruthless. The same fire that once burned him out in New York now lights his path in Chicago. The Tejada legacy might be dying back home, but here, in the heart of the Midwest, a new legend is being born. Kane doesn't just survive, he evolves. And as he looks out over the Chicago skyline, the city lights reflecting off his cold stare, one thing becomes clear: He didn't escape New York to hide. He came to Chicago to reign. The streets remember names for two reasons: fear or respect. In Chicago, Kane Tejada starts to earn both. After that one night, the shootout that earned him a place in CBI, his legend begins to spread. Word hits every block, every corner, every trap house. There's a new hitter rolling with Tommy's crew. The same city that once saw him as a stranger now starts whispering his name like he's part of its bloodline. For Kane, this is power, the kind that doesn't come from family ties or business deals, but from the streets themselves. And in Chicago, power always demands a price. At first, everything runs smooth. Tommy trusts Kane with more moves. Diamond lets him handle smaller crews. It feels like home, the kind of life he wanted back in New York, but could never have under Moni's shadow. He's not just a soldier anymore. He's becoming Tommy's right hand in the field. Every mission, every deal, every hit, Kane proves himself again and again. He moves with precision now, no longer just reckless violence. Tommy starts to call him controlled chaos, dangerous, but disciplined. But it doesn't take long before the cracks start to show. Chicago's streets don't let anyone rise too fast without enemies noticing. Diamond starts to question Kane's motives, not because he's sloppy, but because he's too effective. Every win that boosts Tommy's confidence in Kane also threatens Diamond's position. Diamond built CBI on balance, order, and strategy. Kane brings fire, unpredictability, and risk. Together, they make CBI unstoppable. But to Diamond, that kind of heat can burn the whole city down. Kane, though, doesn't care about politics. He's not here to build peace. He's here to build fear. Every job he takes, he goes harder, colder. He starts moving differently, dressing simpler, talking less, trusting no one. The streets feel his energy shift. It's not about money anymore. It's about legacy. Chicago gives him what New York couldn't, a clean slate. But in the back of his mind, Kane knows the truth. Men like him don't get clean slates. They just get new battlegrounds. Tommy notices it too. He sees Kane's loyalty, but he also sees his ambition. And Tommy knows ambition better than anyone. It's a double-edged sword. You need it to survive, but it can also kill you. Tommy tries to guide Kane, even warns him once after a deal goes sideways. You're not invincible, kid. Don't start believing your own myth. Kane hears it, but he doesn't listen. Because deep down, Kane believes he's earned the right to stand on his own. Then comes the turning point. A rival crew, the Insiders, ambush a CBI delivery. They hit fast, trying to send a message to Tommy. Kane doesn't wait for orders. He moves, 3 shooters down before the rest even blink. He hunts the last one through the alley, catches him, and delivers a message of his own, brutal and unforgettable. That moment seals Kane's name in CBI history. Tommy sees it as loyalty. Diamond sees it as danger. And the streets see it as proof Kane Tejada isn't just a soldier anymore. He's a problem, but success brings shadows. Some of the older CBI members start to whisper behind closed doors. Who's this New York kid taking all the shine? Why's Tommy trusting him so much? The same whispers that once followed Tommy now follow Kane. And that's how every downfall begins, not with betrayal, but with envy. Chicago loves power, but it hates to share it. Kane's relationship with Tommy grows complicated. They share a bond built on blood, loyalty, and survival, but also competition. Tommy sees his younger self in Kane, and that's what scares him. He knows what happens to men who burn too hot for too long. One wrong move, and the fire consumes everything. But Kane isn't built for caution. He's addicted to momentum. The faster things move, the more alive he feels. The city starts to respond to his energy. Deals run smoother when Kane's around. Crews show up on time, rivals start disappearing, and CBI's reputation hits new heights. Tommy calls him the hammer, but even hammers can break if they hit the wrong target. Kane's rise starts to shift the power inside CBI. Diamond wants control. Tommy wants dominance. And Kane, he wants recognition. Three men, one empire, and a storm brewing between them. Late one night, Tommy calls Kane to a meeting. No words, just silence and stares. The air feels heavy. Tommy finally says, "You ever think maybe you're too good at this?" Kane smirks. "Ain't that the point?" Tommy doesn't smile back. That's when Kane realizes the line between trust and threat just got blurred. From that moment, every move feels watched. Every mission feels like a test. Kane's instincts tell him something's coming, something big. The same streets that once lifted him up might soon turn on him. But Kane's not scared. He's ready because in his mind, this was never about fitting in. It was about taking what's his and deep down. Even Tommy knows it. The day's coming when he'll either have to crown Kane as his equal or put him down before it's too late. Power never lasts forever. It only passes hands, usually covered in blood. For Kane Tejada, Chicago has become more than a city. It's a test, a mirror, and a battlefield all at once. The same streets that lifted him up are now starting to close in. CBI is no longer a brotherhood. It's a pressure cooker. Every eye watches Kane with suspicion. Every whisper feels like a blade. What once felt like belonging now feels like a setup waiting to happen. And Kane, the same man who's always fought fire with fire, can feel the burn getting closer. The shift begins slowly. Tommy, once the mentor, starts pulling back. Meetings happen without Kane. Deals get reassigned. Information doesn't flow like it used to. Tommy isn't stupid. He knows power has a scent, and Kane's been wearing it too loud. Diamond, meanwhile, is fanning the flames. He doesn't confront Kane directly, but his words start echoing through the crew. Tommy's getting too close to that New York boy. Don't forget who built this block. Jealousy is poison, and CBI's veins are full of it. Kane can feel the energy changing. He's been through betrayal before, family lies, street politics, fake loyalty. He knows the signs. But this time, he refuses to run. Chicago is his now. He's not giving it up. Instead of backing down, he doubles his presence. He starts showing up where he's not supposed to. Moves money without approval. Builds quiet connections with smaller crews around the city. Tommy sees it, and it eats at him. Because for Tommy, respect and control are the same thing, and Kane's moves feel like rebellion. Then comes the spark that lights the fire. A deal goes sideways again. A CBI convoy's ambushed. Product gone. 2 men dead. Tommy blames the rival gang, but Diamond points the finger straight at Kane. He says Kane leaked the drop location, maybe for leverage, maybe for his own play. Tommy doesn't want to believe it, but doubt has already taken root. For Kane, this isn't about guilt or innocence. It's about survival. He knows he's being framed, and the only way out is through. Kane doesn't wait for explanations. He hunts down the rival crew, not to prove loyalty, but to make a statement. He finds the man responsible, ties up the loose ends with violence that shakes the entire South Side. The message is clear. Kane Tejada doesn't fold. He retaliates. But the move backfires. Tommy sees it as chaos. Diamond sees it as proof. And the rest of CBI starts to divide, half behind Tommy, half whispering that maybe Kane's the one with the real killer instinct to lead. The city starts to feel smaller. Nights get quieter, meetings tenser. Even the money doesn't sound the same when it hits the table. Everyone's waiting for something to explode. Tommy tries to keep control, calling a sit-down with Diamond and Kane. No soldiers, no guns, just words. But words don't mean much to men like them. The conversation starts calm, then shifts to accusations. Tommy calls Kane reckless. Diamond calls him dangerous. Kane doesn't argue. He just says, "Y'all needed a shooter. I gave you a soldier. Don't hate me for doing your dirty work better than you." That's the moment it all cracks. Tommy slams the table, Diamond stands up, and Kane walks out. No one fires a shot, not yet. But something invisible breaks that night. The CBI isn't one crew anymore. It's 3 egos waiting for blood to settle the score. Over the next few weeks, the tension turns into open hostility. Crews start picking sides. Chicago becomes a chessboard with bullets for pieces. Kane moves like a ghost, no home, no crew, no backup. Just instincts. He's been betrayed by family before. Betrayal by brothers doesn't hurt as much. The city that once welcomed him now wants him dead. But Kane doesn't run. He hunts. It all leads to one final night. Rain hitting the pavement. Headlights cutting through the fog. Tommy and Kane finally face each other. No middlemen this time. The silence between them says more than any threat could. Tommy's eyes are cold, Kane's full of defiance. They both know what comes next. Tommy says quietly, "You were never supposed to be the boss." Kane replies, "Then you shouldn't have taught me how to be one." Gunfire breaks the silence. Fast, brutal, final. When it's over, the streets are empty again. No witnesses, no peace, just echoes. Chicago will remember the name Kane Tejada, but not as the kid from New York, as the man who came, rose, and bled for a crown no one truly owns. In the power universe, nobody escapes the game. You either run it or get buried by it. And in the end, Kane didn't just become CBI's shooter. He became its curse.